We Rest is an offering I've created to attempt to meet the needs of this season. At least in the Northern Hemisphere, the world is asking us to drop into a quieter, darker, and more still state of being that practices from our tradition are designed to support. We Rest will be a combination of rest practices, of practices for deep relaxation, and also an opportunity to drop into the experience of Yoga Nidra. These are three different end goals and aims of an experience of practice: rest, relaxation, and Yoga Nidra, that are highly complementary, though still quite distinct from one another. And We Rest, Sleeping Beauty, is my attempt to weave these three supportive practices together to create something that is more holistically supportive of you on all of the different levels of your being, for your body, for your mind, and most importantly, for your soul. Most of us have some sense of what a rest practice might consist of, something that helps to balance the nervous system, that helps us to release some of the overwhelm caused by external stimulation. Relaxation practices are often mistaken as the same thing as a rest practice. But what I would invite you to consider is that relaxation, while it always sounds really lovely, is not always only pleasant. Relaxation is a loosening of the tension that we have put in place in our bodies and in our minds for a reason, often as some form of self-defense against something in the external world that has proven to cause injury or pain of some sort. So we adopt tension like a coat of armor or like walls around us to fortify us to try to prevent future similar injury or pain. And while that can be very effective when it's necessary, we tend to hold on to that tension habitually, and it ends up blocking us from being able to experience life fully, to experience the pleasure as well as sometimes the pain. So these relaxation practices are an intentional, systematic loosening of that tension to resensitize us to ourselves and to our world. Then there's Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is one of the most confused, um, misunderstood and misrepresented orientations to spiritual practice that is discussed today. And I will do my best to simplify what is really a very, I don't want to say complex, but a very deep and rich and nuanced spiritual state of being. More than a practice. It's less something that we do and more a state that we have the opportunity to drop into. Both rest and relaxation practices are conducive to making it possible to experience the state of Yoga Nidra, but it is really its own thing. And we'll weave these opportunities to drop into the state of Yoga Nidra into We Rest, Sleeping Beauty, so that you have the opportunity to not only tend to your body and your mind, but to reconnect quite profoundly with the essence of who and what you truly are at the level of your soul. Yoga Nidra is more of an awakening than it is of a yogic sleep. You could translate Yoga Nidra as yogic sleep, but it's quite a bit more enlightening than what we understand and experience as sleep in our normal 24-hour cycle. Yoga Nidra helps to dissolve a lot of that tension that we're holding on a more subtle and subconscious, even unconscious level. It is a melting away of the barriers that we have constructed either in this lifetime or potentially in previous lifetimes that are keeping us in a state of continuous delusion around the true nature of ourself as human and the true nature of reality. Yoga Nidra provides us the opportunity to soften into, to surrender into this truth, to glimpse ourselves and to glimpse reality as they really are. And those brief glimpses that we're afforded by dropping into the state of Yoga Nidra have the power to completely transform the way that we experience ourselves and the way that we experience the world. Now, the reason that I'm calling it this offering, We Rest Sleeping Beauty, is that most of us are asleep to the inherent beauty that lives inside of every human being and the inherent beauty that pervades the world. We, by virtue of having been hurt in the past, which all of us have been, naturally develop these defensive mechanisms designed to keep us safe, but which also rely on the more primal aspects of the mind to constantly seek out and identify sources of danger, pain, injury, and we start to look at the world through a lens of fear, fear that matures into anger, animosity, and that animosity can mature into hatred and can cause us to look for what is ugly in ourselves, in other human beings, and in the world. We are asleep to the through line, the thread that connects all beings, all elements of reality. And if we allow ourselves the opportunity to soften and wake up to that through line, to that thread, to begin to connect not just theoretically, but substantially to the essence that is in all of us, that which is the same in all beings, then it helps us to see the beauty in that sameness as well as the beauty in what makes us different and unique. And seeking out beauty as opposed to seeking out fear, ugliness, animosity has, I believe, the power to change the world. So, if that sounds appealing to you at all, I would invite you to join us. It will be 28 days of a ritual of rest in which we will do a little practice called prataka or candle gazing, which helps to bring in a quality of reverence, of sanctity, a sacredness to the experience. It helps us to remind ourselves that we are about to engage in something that's special. And we follow that with a chanting of the daily prayers of the Himalayan tradition, which again, every day reiterates our purpose for showing up, for logging in, for connecting with community, and for connecting with ourselves and the beauty that lies within each one of us. And then we get to breathe a bit, lie down, and enjoy these guided practices, which again will weave together rest, relaxation, and Yoga Nidra. I will also be incorporating a very potent element of our tradition's approach to practice, which is mantra. There are 3 bija mantras plus a 4th that is technically a bija or a seed mantra, meaning sort of the most potentized expression of a particular aspect of reality in the form of sound that will help us to more authentically identify with and therefore see, acknowledge, experience, and learn to cherish these various forms of beauty in ourselves and in the world. So we begin Monday, which I believe is the 12th of January. It's here in the written description. Dates fly in and out of my brain very quickly. I believe it's the 12th of January, and we will continue to gather every day for 28 days at the same time. And again, if my memory serves me correctly, that would be 6 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. That should be 10 Central, 11 Mountain. No, sorry, 7 Central, 8 Mountain, 9 Eastern for our North American folks. And then in Europe and in England, that will be meeting at 2 p.m. in England and the Canary Islands. It's at 3 p.m. for those of us in the majority of Western Europe. I think it's 4 o'clock in Western Africa, so on and so forth. Please check your time zone to make sure it's definitely 3 o'clock in Montenegro, which is where I will be for the duration of this offering. I think that's all I need to say. The rest of the details are in writing where they will be more reliably accurate. If you are curious and would like to find out what this is all about, I earnestly invite you to join us. There will be an opportunity for reflection and for some conversation at the end of each of our gatherings as well, which is a really phenomenal way to connect with our really beautiful, nurturing international community of practitioners. And if you are unable to make it at the time that it is being offered live, every practice is recorded and you have access to the recordings forever. So you can revisit these full 28 days or single practices at any point between now and when you transition to the next iteration of life. So I think that's all. Thanks for listening. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will look forward to clicking into the Zoom meeting next Monday and seeing your faces.